All right, hopefully everybody can hear me okay, and I think the stream's going out. You can let me know in the chat there, and we're going live. This is the final part of the build. As you can see, I've already got the system all put back together, and I'm just going to open it up and show you the cable management. I need to make a change to the lighting on the motherboard. I had some second thoughts on that red and green. I think I want to keep the board all red. And then it's ready to be shipped off to the customer. So it should be a fairly short live stream today, but this closes it out, right? There's your closure. So we're going to take a look here in just a minute, give folks a few minutes to come on into the chat. Looks like everything is working on the stream. Everybody says they can hear me. I'm assuming you can see me then, that's good. And yeah, that was... For those of you wondering how long it takes to build a computer, it's a couple hours a day for 4 days, minus all the distractions I had. And pretty leisurely pace, you know, it could have been done in a day if I had to, but, you know. Okay, so let me show you what the inside here looks like. I have to keep looking over at my screen to see what you guys are seeing. So here on this panel, if we open that up, let me turn this around. That's what we look like with the cable management done. And I'm keeping the plastic on the doors here just so that the owner of this computer can have that honor of pulling that plastic off and to make sure that it doesn't get scratched up in shipping. So that's the front side. And then I do like how those doors just close. You don't need any screws or anything. Let's take a look at the other side here. Bring this around. Of course, this is where your cable management magic has to happen, right there. And you can see it's, well, it's about as good as I can get it. What I decided to do, you know, if you recall, I took out the bottom 2.5-inch solid-state hard drive bay down here, and I've left that out because when I put it on, it really gets in the way of the power and data cable for the hard drive. And also, I also said I was going to leave that hard drive bay out, but I decided it looks better with the hard drive bay in. So you'll notice I put that back in over here. I just thought it looked better. I mean, customers getting it one way or the other, so why not just leave it in? And yeah, that's the completed machine right there. And what I want to do now is I'm going to power it up. I want to change the color on the motherboard, and then I'll be able to box it up and send it off. And there goes Lyle. Okay. What is this person doing with the computer? They're gaming. We're gaming with it. And let me get this hooked up so I can turn it on. So I've got to turn this monitor around. Let's do that. There you guys are. Now you can see yourselves looking at me. And me looking back at you. It's a whole Inception thing going on right there. I've got a power cable here somewhere. Oh, here it is. I don't want that yet. I need my keyboard and mouse. And I need my video cable, my HDMI cable. And that is over here. There we go. And we'll give it some juice. Flip the power supply switch on. Let's move the keyboard and mouse to the front so I can see the screen and we can look at it together. All right, now we're ready to power it on. Let me switch over to the HDMI input. And here we go. Well, you can already see when it's got power, the board turns on, the LEDs stay on when the board has power, which I thought was pretty interesting. Kind of think it's annoying. All right, so let's go ahead and just boot it up normal. I'm going to get rid of the overclock, and I'm going to change the motherboard so that the customer can decide what they want to do with the system. I'm not happy with a 9% over. That should be better than that. But it's interesting, the default colors that are coming up here. The NZXT is circling around in blue, and I think once the software loads, that should go to the colors that we selected, which it hasn't done yet. Interesting. Just continue as guest. Because that NZXT should have been red and green the way we saved it. I don't know why it's not coming up red and green right now. But that's all right. This is our final check. Since the cable management's been done, I haven't turned it back on. The motherboard colors saved, but the NZXT did not. So let's bring up the CAM software. Let's take a look at, let's see, is it under advanced? No. Expanded? No. No, it's none of that. Tuning? No. Games? Nope. Build? No. It's in here somewhere. That's not what I want. I don't want expanded. I've only used this software like 3 times, so I'm still finding my way around in it. Okay, this is something to do with I don't know. I know I played with the colors. I got to remember where I found that. None of that. Why can't I find it? It's just the dashboard, and the dashboard's not giving me anything other than just data. I thought it would be under advanced, but now I don't know anymore. It wants me to log in now. And I don't want that either. I am missing something. That much is clear. All right, we got 2 different color settings there. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to start with what I know. So let's go to the Aura software. And let's change that motherboard green to red. We're just going to go red all the way across and hit apply. Well, that one didn't get red. Let's get that one red. There we go. Okay, that seems fine. It's kind of hard to see with this door closed, isn't it? Of course, it's pretty bright in here, so you really can't see the the colors too well, but we kept all that red. And then that NZXT, I don't know. Boy, all right, let's see. Turn that off. And let me bring back up the cam software again. There's our temps, our RPMs. This is driving me crazy. Where's the colors? Do you know what I think happened? I think I might have knocked the, possible I knocked the USB cable loose. Oh, it didn't like that. Fan's going full speed now. There we go, we're back in. No, that's not the problem. Yeah, we don't want that. Don't want that. Don't want that. Where is it? Never had this problem before. We certainly didn't have it yesterday. Well, that's interesting. Okay, I'm gonna go check something and I will be right back. Missing something. Yeah, it's under tuning, which for some reason isn't letting us go in there. It's like it wants us to create an account now, which it wasn't doing the other day. It's got this disclaimer, and they want you to click next, and nothing happens. I got nothing. Which I don't know why, but it's definitely under tuning. But you know what, let me turn the overclock off as well while I'm thinking about it, and then we'll reboot anyway, and we'll see if that makes any difference. Let's see. Let's see, I want to turn off the overclock. Set this back to defaults. And now that should disable the overclock. I'll be interested if the NZXT software fixes itself, or if this is one of those things that's going to require us to make an account. We're about to find out. There we go. No more overclock message on the boot screen. And now it starts to load. That reset took a little longer than I thought it would. When the software loads, I expect to see the motherboard LEDs come on. Yep, they just did. And I'm going to wait for the CAM software to load. And I think we'll see the CAM software on the screen automatically if I'm patient. It may be reaching out to the internet right now trying to get a connection. Is the CAM software loaded? Yeah, CAM software hasn't loaded yet. Don't know why that takes so long. Unless it really needs me to have a network connection for that CAM software to work. That may be the problem. I don't have it plugged into the network right now. And it may be reaching out and timing out on the network, because I know if I bring that up manually, it'll come up. It wants us to sign in and say continue as guest, continue as guest. Now it's loaded and it's changed to blue. It's very inconsistent. Come on. Yeah, that lack of responsiveness, the only thing I can think is the network timing out. But yeah, under tuning, oh look, tuning came up this time. This says fixed default, edit settings. I wanted it red and green. So how did we do that? We did that with blue and green. Pretty sure that's how we did it right there. Yeah, there it is. Now we got red and green. Let's turn the system off, see if it saves it. Yeah, I really want to pull this plastic off because it looks so great. I know it's going to look fantastic, but I don't want to have to try and put that plastic back on before I ship it. So, but we can open the door. Here we go. That's interesting. The board defaults to green when it's off. There's probably a setting to change that, I'd imagine. And then let's go ahead and turn it back on. And immediately went to red and green. That's a good sign. So I wonder if maybe if I cut power, is that when the NZXT software forgets, or, you know, because I've had it off for quite some time. I'd like to see it go back to its default, which it just did. Yeah, so when I cut power to it, it reset back to just going to the default blue. Motherboard still remembers everything the way I set it. And then we'll see when the software loads, if it switches back to red and green again once Windows comes up. That's interesting. Software came up fast that time. Yeah, it just switched to red and green. Perfect. Perfect. Now it's doing what it's supposed to do. Everything looks exactly the way I want it to look. And it's ready to be shipped off. That's it. We are done. All right. So let me go ahead and shut it back down one more time. Okay, let me turn this around so I can address you guys. Come back around here. Here we go. Need my keyboard. Oops. Put that right there. We can unplug this HDMI cable so it's not all tangled around here. Okay. If I were to fly you to the Netherlands to build my PC, would I be allowed to help build it? Of course. Be allowed to do whatever you want. Are you going to do more of these live builds? If I continue to have interest, sure, it's easy. Saves me a lot of editing time. So let's address any final questions you guys have before I wrap this up. Somebody said surprised no M.2 for booting. Somebody has not been paying attention. Does anybody have any idea when Vega comes out? I don't know. Plastic on the side is triggering me. Well, you should see somebody about that. Boy, somebody named Gary is getting beat up here in the chat room. Who's Gary? I think if you guys are going to be mean to one another, people are going to have to start getting banned. So I just want to remind you guys, you know, look, if you put yourself out there on YouTube, then, you know, people are going to come out and say they could have done it better. But these people don't have any that they've ever done. So I'll keep saying it as often as I need to, which is don't listen to anybody tell you how to do anything when they have never done anything themselves. So, you know, don't even, you know, there's a certain kind of mentality involved with somebody who wants to criticize something, an education that's being offered for free. They're not paying anything for it. And this is how they're spending their free time to voluntarily come in and get themselves upset. That's a real health issue, mental health issue. So just leave those people alone. If I see them, I'll ban them, and hopefully they'll get the help that they need. So anyway, let's address some questions, legitimate questions we have in the chat, which I know is the vast majority of you, and then we're going to wrap this up. This is going to be a short live stream. So let's see what we've got. Stella Rock, thank you for the kind words. I appreciate that. So, all right. What else we got? Never seen M.2 driver boot slower. You weren't seeing the M.2 boot slow. You were waiting for the BIOS to reconfigure itself after I changed the overclock setting and had to make adjustments in the UEFI. So this is where we run into problems where people continually come to conclusions without asking questions. And I strongly advise you, before you're about to correct anybody, you should ask them a question. Ask them what you think is wrong before you accuse them of doing something wrong, because it really makes you look bad. I mean, if you want to be a jerk, if that's your thing, keep doing it. But I will say that karma works both ways, and you'll find that often the way you treat people is the way people treat you, and it's kind of it's a cycle, you know. It's repetitive, and so you think, well, if people are going to treat me that way, I'll treat them that way, and then they think if you're going to, it just goes around and around and around, and only you can make it stop. And so I'm just offering you the information. If you want to make your life easier and you like that, you keep doing it. So here we've got, you know, like somebody wants to swear, they can go away. It doesn't bother me. Just, I click a button and they're gone. And by the way, you know, they could have clicked a button and left. So, you know, if they don't want to click it, I'll do it for them. All right, so I think we've got normal people in the chat left now. Anybody else want to be kicked out? And I would not advise you to think it's funny to say yes unless you sincerely want to be. Where did I get the turntable from? The turntable was sent to me by a viewer, and I've mentioned it with links in the 3 past build videos. I didn't just mention it once. In those 3 past build videos, not only do I mention it and talk about it, but I also put a link in the in those video notes. So go back and look at those 3 past build videos. Have you done a build with Peltier cooling? No. Oh, look, we got another one here. I got another one. Bye-bye. Bye, Felicia. What else we have going on here? Carey, do you buy the components before you get paid? No, customers pay for the parts, and I don't care where the customers buy the parts. They can get them wherever they want, and then what they have to do is I have to approve the parts. Somebody's not going to go, hey, look, I already bought parts. Can I send them to you and have you make? No, it's not going to work. I need to talk to you about the parts, and I need to make sure that what I'm building I can support. So that's usually the way it works. They'll order, have the parts shipped to me, and then I'll build it, and then they'll pay for the shipping. When will your next PC build? There's no schedule. It's whenever I have time. What do I think of Acer? Well, Acer doesn't really sell components, apart from monitors, I guess. And I'm not a fan of any pre-built system, regardless of who makes it. But as far as, you know, would I buy an Acer? I've had Acer monitors. I don't have any problems with them. Do you think Acer Predator monitors are overpriced? I don't know. I've never shopped for one. I don't even know what they sell for or what their benefits or features are. Can you pull that plastic off from the door? No, I'm going to let the customer do that because this has to go a really far away. This is going to Pennsylvania. So I need to make sure that it can survive, you know, a 2,300 mile trip without scratching those doors up, and I don't want my customer who dropped $3,000 on this computer to have a case arrive with scratches on the door because some stranger in the chat room asked me to take the plastic off. But if it's a local build, then of course I'd be taking the plastic off to show you. But in this case, no. Hi from Romania, great job. Keep the live builds coming. What do you recommend for a $100 case? There's no case I can really recommend to you. It's a personal choice. Pick whatever you like. Did you put your built by sticker on it? No, I put the built sticker in the box, and then the customer can decide if they want to put that on and where. Too many people, you know, I do criticize the manufacturers for including all those stickers. You know, the RAM, Corsair's got their sticker, and EVGA's got their sticker, and then I go, these guys, they all want you to put their stickers on their case, and I go and put mine on there. Yeah, it's a bit of a hypocrite. So I'll let I recognize that. So I'll let the customer decide if they want to use it and where. What else? Can you ship to Sweden? I can only ship in the United States. MIB Pro 3030 says, shout out, please. Can you open the door so I can see the build? That I can absolutely do. Yes. Here we go. I think that's a good angle right there. Can't see me, but you don't need to see me. What else do we have going on in the chat? K-Switch 500 says hello. Victor Dibbits wants more cooking videos. Coke is bad for you. Yes, breathing is bad for you too. If you stop breathing, cures everything. That sucks that you only ship to the US. No, it doesn't. The likelihood of the computer getting damaged being shipped on a boat is immense. And then your country is going to charge you an import tax that could be as much as 50% of the value of what you paid, what you've already paid. So then you've got more money there. And then when you get it and you find out it's broken, there's nothing I can do to help you, and there's no warranty you can use because you didn't buy the parts in the country you're in. So you don't want anybody who would ship something from the US, if it's something as delicate as a computer, is greedy and not thinking about you. I care too much about my customers to ever do that to a customer. You know, if you want to buy, you know, for a while I had my little inspired by badges. I ship those all over the world. There's no import tax. There's nothing to break. The worst thing that happened was, you know, a couple got lost in the mail, never arrived, stuff like that. So, yeah, Brazil has a 50% import tax. Every country is different. You'd have to contact your local government to find out what your import tax would be on electronic items. Quietest water cooler, the one I'm using. Is this just a Q&A video? At this point it is. At this point, yes. In fact, it's going to end here very soon. So any other questions? I got to wrap this up because I have to get this boxed up and shipped out today. So I still have a lot of work to do. Can you come to Canada and do a build here? As long as somebody's going to pay for it, I'm more than happy to go to Canada and do a build there. I'll go anywhere people want to pay me to go. WhoVisions built a new system after watching your videos. Thanks for the help. Very cool. Thanks. I'm glad that inspired you to do that. Are you going to take out the GPU? Nope, I do not take out the GPUs when I ship. I've got a video about that called How to Build and Ship a Computer. I also mention it practically on the end of every build I do. It's weird, I guess many of you are just new to the channel, and if so, welcome. But you're asking a lot of questions that have all been addressed in previous videos numerous times. Keep up the excellent vids, Carey. You have inspired me to do my own build. Well, good, William. You should definitely do that. Am I going to be doing a Ryzen build? I only build what customers order. So if you want to see something specific, order it. Do a vid on XMP. You turn XMP on or you turn it off. I don't know what. Was that going to be a 15-second video? That was a good one, Lyle. Did you recover all your data from your Seagate NAS? No, all those drives are sitting in a cabinet. I haven't touched them. I've been too busy. Victor, thanks for the comments. I appreciate that. And Charles, thank you so much. All right, guys, any final questions? We're going to go ahead and wrap this up because, like I said, I've got to get this thing boxed up and get over to the FedEx store. Jimmy's doing fantastic. Reaper, thank you. Love you too. And Marcus. And Macaroni. What's the minimum price PC you would build? Well, again, you have to buy your own parts. So, you know, if you can get a good deal on parts, I'm not selling any parts. I don't sell parts. So that's impossible for me to say. What would you recommend for a student? Gaming notebook or gaming, you know, what kind of car should I buy? I mean, if you don't know anything about me, are you going to recommend a pickup truck or a minivan or a sports car or a four-door car or a convertible or a hybrid or an electric or a diesel? Don't take advice from anybody on the internet for free when you're going to spend $1,000 or more on a computer because some stranger said this is what you should buy, and they don't even know who you are, what your needs are, what your expectations are, and what your budget is. That's a huge, huge mistake. You got to do your own research. The customer buys the parts and the part arrives DOA. Do you handle the RMA? Well, yeah, I'm the one who has the part. I'm the one who's going to learn it's DOA, not the customer. Customers are often in other areas of the United States. And even if they weren't, the parts are still in my possession. Well, the parts are in my possession. I'm responsible for them. And I keep talking about accountability and responsibility, liability. These people, other YouTubers who are tech enthusiasts, and I'm not going to name names, but they're just tech enthusiasts. They're not real working computer technicians. They're people who make videos for a living. They don't handle anything in the real world. Everything is done for entertainment purposes. So what I'm doing the exact opposite. I'm showing you actual work for actual customers, that I'm an actual tech who's actually getting paid, who is actually held responsible for all the advice I give, for all the parts that are installed, and for delivering computers on time within a budget that meet my customers' expectations. And it's not, I'm not saying it's better and I'm not saying it's worse, I'm saying it's different. And so, you know, I'm very hesitant and I feel bad for people looking for free advice on the internet that aren't paying for that advice from somebody they know that they can verify. This is who this person is, this is what their background is, this is what makes them an expert, or this is what makes them worthy to listen to. You know, somebody who just gets parts sent to them by manufacturers and reads PR sheets, the marketing materials, and then parrots that back out, that's not a technician. And if you do that full time, day after day after day, and that's your main source of income, the technical side of it vanishes. The technology changes so rapidly. You've really got to be in the trenches doing the work. And that's not to devalue those other channels, but simply to make the difference, the distinct difference between what I'm doing and what others are doing on YouTube. This is not a main source of income for me. It's just something I do because I want to. And so I put up with the abuse. Mostly, you know, I'd say 90 96% of everybody's fantastic. There's 4% and they just get right under your skin. And for what? You know, they didn't pay anything. Nobody's paying for this information. So I don't know if it's a generational thing. You know, when I was growing up, if somebody gave you something for free and you didn't want it, you didn't take it. And if you did want it, you took it and you didn't complain and say, oh, this isn't very good. If it wasn't very good, you wouldn't have taken it. So, you know, there's almost like a sense of entitlement that I see coming from people on the internet, like they somehow are owed videos, or they're somehow, they consider themselves my equal to tell me I'm not doing something right, even though they've never done anything themselves. And they hide behind fake names and they want to say it's freedom of speech, but they won't say who they are. Well, that's not freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is saying who you are. It's being held accountable and saying, you know, my name is Carey Holzman and this is what I stand by. If you're too scared to reveal who you are in real life, but demand that you be heard, how can anybody take you seriously? For all we know, you're a bot. For all we know, you're not even real. So I put up with all that because I think that the good outweighs the bad. The benefit of educating the people who appreciate it far outweighs those who try to discourage. And there is a real sense of, you know, we're all here temporarily. We will all die. And it's nice to know that these videos, hopefully YouTube will be around long after I'm gone, and they'll remain for historical reasons. And all those people who complain, they'll all be dead. And I'll be dead. Well, I'll be dead. And that this is something that I get to leave behind. Like I say, I think it'll be interesting to go back and look at these videos in 40 years, 50 years, and look and see how big and how complex this was, and how basic it was, and how dumb we were compared to what future generations will see. You know, imagine if there was a YouTube from 1842 and you could see the way a kitchen looked in 1842, and you could see the way people dressed, and then everybody wore hats, and you know, all this cultural changes that occur. So the historical significance of that is fantastic. Of course, it does put all that sort of assumption that YouTube will be around, or that the videos will somehow be carried over onto another platform, or that anybody will have any interest. So I do believe that there is a much bigger picture here. And I think that the people who complain are squandering very precious time they have on this planet. And it's a shame, because tomorrow isn't promised for any of us. Any of us could not wake up tomorrow. And if that's how you spent your last day on Earth, was to try and knock somebody down, I mean, that's your choice. But that's not how I choose. Not my choice. All right, any final questions here? I'm gonna go, let's see, we got about maybe 5 more minutes. News on inaccessible boot device. So the series of videos I was doing on the computer that the customer brought me that had the inaccessible boot device, that customer has not gotten back to me. They said they would get back to me, and I'm not chasing after them. I've got other work to do. So the computer still sits in parts back at my office until I hear back from the customer, or until I get caught up, whichever comes first. I suspect I'm not going to be caught up for many, many months, so I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen with that. Instead of price, what's the minimum spec PC you would build? There is no minimum spec. There are certain manufacturers I won't use because I don't want the responsibility of support, nor do I want that inability of support then to reflect on me as to whether or not I'm any good at what I do, because you decided you wanted to buy a cheaper motherboard and they have no support, and you asked me to put it together, and then you get it in 3 weeks or whatever amount of time passes and the thing doesn't work anymore, and now you think I didn't do the job right. So in order to make sure that my customer is going to be happy and that my reputation is able to be controlled, at least to the best of my abilities, there are only certain manufacturers I trust. And it doesn't matter to me which parts you buy, so long as you buy it from those manufacturers. And then that way I have peace of mind that I can extend and very confidently say to my customer that it's less likely to ever have a problem, and if it does have a problem, the manufacturer will work with us expediently to get the problem resolved satisfactorily. It's bad enough you're going to have a computer that's down. It's bad enough I may have to do the labor for free. The last thing I need is a manufacturer to say, oh no, we don't have a problem with our boards. That must have been something you did. It must have been the power supply you. I mean, any manufacturer that does what I call finger pointing, they won't get my business. And they may have really cool products. You know, manufacturer may have some really cool stuff, but I can't put my name on it if that's how they're going to handle support. Every manufacturer will have a bad product. So it's not about saying which manufacturers are more likely to fail. That's not my concern. My concern, well, it's slightly my concern, but my main concern is that when the product fails, how does the manufacturer treat you? Are they easy to get a hold of? And do they expedite the return process and the repair process, or do they look for excuses why it's not returnable, why it's not an RMA issue? And there are manufacturers today, and it's generally the cheaper ones, right? It's generally the ones where you're trying to save $8 or something, and you bought, and you're not going to know this until after you've already bought. And then you're stuck, right? So then the solution, so what do you do when that happens? You go, well, you got to buy a new motherboard. Now, do you want to buy it from the same company and save the $8 again? Or do you want to spend $8 more and buy it from somebody else? I mean, why would you continue to give a company your business if they won't stand behind their own product that they make? It doesn't make any sense to me. And after you've been doing it as long as I've been doing it, and you build as many machines as I build every year, you learn that those manufacturers who do that can not only cost you money in repairs and time, but in your reputation. Customers are less likely to come back and have you buy another machine. And if this is an office that has, 15 or 30 computers or what have you, and they say, all right, well, we'll try you. Build us one or build us two, and we'll evaluate them. And then those one or two fail in the evaluation, you won't get the bid for the other, to replace the other machines. It's not going to happen. That's a lot of faith as a business person to be putting into a manufacturer. And if it's not good enough for me, it's not good enough for my customers. But if I'm not supporting it, I don't care who you buy. If it's not going to be a reflection on me, you go buy whatever you want. I don't care. I don't sell parts. There's nothing in it for me for you to buy one manufacturer over another. But if I'm building it and I'm responsible for the support, then that's a reflection on me, and I need to make sure that those parts are going to meet those requirements that I just mentioned. So that's the logic, and that's, how else are you going to sustain a business for 25 years? I mean, you can get away with, selling cheaper items at higher profits and pocket some serious money. And then eventually you'll burn everybody and get a bad reputation, and you can switch careers and do something else, I guess, and burn people that way. Not my thing. Carey has always leaned towards Intel. That's not true at all. And when the Core 2 Duo came out, I switched back to Intel. Prior to that, it was all AMD. AMD Athlon XPs. I sold those for probably 3 years, nothing but those. Intels were pretty rare. And then AMD just fell behind. Is AMD caught up with Ryzen? Maybe, I don't know. Ryzen's still a little too early to tell. You guys, I think many of you don't realize how easily you're manipulated by marketing. It's amazing to me to stand back and watch people's interest for a movie while the marketing is going on, while the commercials are playing. I got to see that movie, I got to see that movie. And then something happens and you forget about it. And then the marketing for another movie comes out, and then months later the movie comes out on DVD and you can't even remember what that movie was about. You're like, thought I wanted to see this movie. Now, you know, all that energy and motivation just dies. And it's all controlled with marketing. It's fascinating. So AMD's spending a lot of money on marketing right now and really boosting up that Ryzen processor, but there's very little scientific evidence regarding compatibility and potential issues with hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of different software applications. And it's too soon to tell reliability. So we really need to kind of sit and watch this and see how it evolves. It's brand new tech, right? And with any other brand new tech, you got to either be the pioneer who's going to face all these issues, which once again, if you're a technician, you're going to get a phone call every time these issues come up. And it's a reflection on you. If you're the one who recommended this Ryzen processor, let's just say, and now as a result of the Ryzen processor, this application your client uses doesn't work on that new machine you built them. But hey, you know, it's brand new and it's the coolest thing, everybody's talking about it. Well, now you're going to be burdened with having to figure out, do the research, find out what the fix is going to be, look for the update, apply the update, test it. I'm going to let somebody else do that. I'm too busy for that. Once the chip's been out for a while and then the general consensus will be everything's running fine and it's reliable, I'll have no problem recommending AMD at all. But the generations prior to Ryzen aren't worth recommending in my opinion. And you know, for the money, you're paying less for AMD and you're getting less for AMD. That's the reality of it. With Ryzen, I don't know yet. And prior to that, the Athlon XP, you were paying less and getting more than you were with Intel. So it's always going up and down, back and forth and switching. And just like video cards, you know, which video card's the fastest this week and which one's the fastest next week. It's always fluctuating and the prices are fluctuating too. So it's just, you guys, I think many of you oversimplify and buy into marketing and you don't really think about anybody but yourselves. You don't think about, what if I were to be in his position, right? You put yourself in my shoes and I had a customer who's running a business and I'm all excited about Ryzen and I sell my customer the Ryzen based on my recommendation, and now that customer is unable to do their business, they're losing money. You've got other customers waiting for you that are waiting with cash in their hands, and you can't take their money because you are liable for that machine you sold this client who's not able to make money, who's already paid you. And you can't be at two places at the same time. It's real life. All right, I think that's going to wrap up the live stream. We're going about, it's going to be about an hour now. And FedEx does not close in 2 hours. Once again, the world is not all on your time zone. Please, people, stop thinking of yourselves. There are other people in the world. It's called consideration. Somebody says, I'd be pissed if Carey took his sweet time building my PC. Well, I will tell you that I pay attention to a lot of details people don't pay attention to. I have to make sure everything is right, and I double, triple, quadruple check everything. And it takes time. And if you don't want your computer built to that level of precision and thoroughness, I'm not the guy. I agree. You don't want me to build your PC. If you know how to do it, you don't need me to do it. If you want something done right, take your time. That's true. And you know, when somebody says somebody's taking their time, that still could be a lot faster than somebody going through it as quickly as they can. It varies from one person to another. That's perspective. So once again, just thinking of yourself. But again, I now want to underscore the negativity in this. The vast majority of the viewers are fantastic people. There's just a few standouts that, and they're always going to be there, you know, forever. There's always going to be people like that. You know, it's called that guy. So you want to be that guy? Ask yourself, you're okay with it? Fine, I'm not okay with it. I don't want to be that guy. You can be that guy. That's fine with me. What is the rotating circular board thing called? It's called a Lazy Susan. Well, that's a good point there also. Sinister 21, supposed to enjoy your build, not rush it. Absolutely, you really should enjoy your build, because once you build a computer for the first time, you're going to want to build another one. I promise you. Nobody's ever said they didn't want to after the first one. So the great thing, though, I'll tell you what I really like, is my ability to block individuals. You see, I wouldn't know who a troll was unless they were dumb enough to speak up. And once they are, they've exposed who they are, and then I can block them and they're gone forever. Then they have to either create another account or they're replaced by another troll who's too dumb to not speak out. And as soon as they speak out, oh, that one's the troll, and then you can block them. You know, it's so stupid. Remember, I'm talking about running a business is about running something sustainable. And being sustainable means you're able to continue to do it indefinitely for a long period of time. Being a troll is not sustainable, because you just continually get blocked and you have to keep recreating and starting over again if you want to come back. And I find that kind of amusing, that there's such a lack of forethought. Sort of like, well, if I do this, what are the repercussions going to be? Repercussions are going to be blocked, and you're not going to be able to say anything anymore. Would it have been better that you could have joined in and just kept your mouth shut? Or said something nice? I mean, God forbid. What would have happened? What would have happened to any troll who, in their mind, you know, they go, there's a good side and there's a bad side. Do I want to say something nice? Do I want to say something bad? And they choose bad and think, what's the worst that could happen? I'm going to show them, you know, how powerful and smart I am. I don't know what the ego issue is there. Or I could say something good and make friends and be likable. So what are the odds that I'm going to get kicked out for being nice? What are the odds or the consequences of being bad? It's not rocket science. That PC should have flames painted on its side. Well, no, you wouldn't be able to see through the windows then. All right, well, I think that's going to wrap it up. And I'm sorry for the little soapbox talk about the trolls, but they want attention. You know, that's the reason they do it. So please bear with me as I give these special folks the time that they, you know, clearly something's missing in their lives and they need that attention. So I appreciate you bearing with me while I give them that attention that they so desperately seek. And you guys are very patient to tolerate that. And I really appreciate everybody tuning in and participating, especially the folks who don't have those particular health issues mental health issues with regards to needing to draw attention to themselves or prove superiority. And once again, I do appreciate your patience and your tolerance as I address those people who so desperately seek attention. We do have a big issue in the world now where everybody wants to be somebody to somebody else. It's no longer a case where you can be, generally speaking, where you can be happy with who you are. It seems like people only can be happy if somebody else tells them that they approve. And so let's just acknowledge that is a problem in society right now. And I don't know any other way to deal with it other than just go ahead and give them a little bit of attention and makes me feel a little bit better too to speak to them. I think they really need to be spoken to. They need somebody to talk to them. And I don't know if it really makes any difference or not, to be honest. It does make me feel a little bit better. But again, for the vast majority of you, thank you so much once again for tuning in. And I'm going to get this thing boxed up and sent out. One final look. One more time, I'm going to open up that back side again so you can see that cabling there and how that turned out. And I will say, the thing I don't like about this case is its size. I wish it was a little shorter. But on the Pro side, I like how easily the doors open up. The cabling was very easy. The cable management was very easy to do. And it looks fantastic, and there's lots of room to upgrade it. And overall, I am happy with the case. I just don't like the idea of shipping something this big and heavy that far. But I'm sure it's going to be okay. So that's going to wrap up this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you very soon. Until then, bye for now.